will learn the hip movement variation. I stand with one foot flat on the ground and the other on its toes. Now lift the hip up, decreasing the bending of the knee, and down. Lift, drop. Let's do it on the left too. So now I stand with my right foot flat on the ground and the left on its toes. Lift the hip up and down. A useful addition to the hip lift and drop is the leg swing. I will demonstrate first and then explain how it is done. So, what do? I stand in the same position as before, one foot flat on the ground and the other on its toes, and with my hip lifted. Then I drop my hip down and at the same time I detach my toes from the ground. I lift my hip back up and at the same time put my leg back in its original position. Let's do it together for a moment. How do I combine it with the previous move? I drop my hip down, once without the leg swing and once with the swing. Without, with, without, with. Let's try the left side. Again, while my hip is lifted, my toes are on the ground, and when I drop the hip down, I detach the foot. Up, down. And combined. I drop the hip without the leg swing once, and with the swing once. As a matter of fact, when I do the move as shown before, I only lift and drop the hip vertically, up and down, up and down. After gaining control over that, you can try other variations, like drawing a circle with the side of the hip. I take it back, up, and forward. Or I can lift and drop the hip vertically, but also move the hip forward and backward. Forward, backward. Create a circle. Do it lower, bend the knees. Now simply try to play with it and find as many variations as possible. I can also use the knees bending to emphasize the movement. Don't forget to practice on both sides. We can also walk with this movement with the hip lift and drop. Let's focus on the steps first. I step with one foot flat and the other on its toes. Then the leg on toes does a flat step and the other goes on toes. Step, toes, step, toes. I can walk with these steps to any direction I desire. And let's speed it up. Okay, so what do I do with the hip? I do a step, and then when I put my toes down, I lift the hip. So it goes step, hip, step, hip, step, hip, step, hip, and faster. I can also walk backwards by taking the flat step back. The toes remain frontal. Step back, toes front. It really opens up my possibilities. One last thing we will do with this movement is switch sides with a turn. So if I use my right hip and want to switch to the left, I can do it with a turn. I take the foot that's on its toes, cross it with the other leg, turn, and here I am, side switched. Again, I take the foot that's on its toes, cross it with the other leg, turn, and reach the other side.